Hello and welcome to my pick a card reading on your future child's personality. In this reading, we are going to be going over the personality of one of your kids. So you may have more than one. However, I'm really just trying to hone in on some of the personality traits of one of your children. So for this pick a card reading, we have four groups. Each one I have a different quote about growing up that I looked up on Pinterest. So you can pick based on the quote, you can pick based on the number, or if you like the feel or the look of one of these rose quartz crystals that I have below each deck, you could do that too. So I'm going to read out the quotes. So for group one, the quote is, "Sometimes we will never know the value of a moment until it becomes a memory." That's from Dr. Seuss. From group two, the quote is, "Growing old is mandatory, growing up is optional." And the speaker of that quote is unknown. According to Pinterest, it's unknown. For group three, the quote is, "Isn't it funny how day by day nothing changes, but when you look back, everything is different?" That's by C.S. Lewis. And then for group four, the quote is, "Keep watering yourself, you're growing," by E. Russell. You pick which quote or group is speaking to you. I'm going to have the timestamps below. You can select the group that you feel most drawn to, and then we'll get started. Hello, group number one, and welcome to your pick card reading on your future child's personality. Keep in mind that you could have more than one kid, but I'm personally just going to be reading on one of them if you end up having multiple. So yeah, let's get started. So right away, I feel like your future child is going to have a duality to them. So they could be someone who their energy kind of wavers. Like it's like very up and down, up and down, up and down. So they can have moments where they're really motivated and passionate to do what it is that they're driven to do, which is why the cheetah card is here. And with the 10 of Pentacles, I do feel like they're going to have a lot of interests and a lot of different hobbies and things that could make them money, or a lot of things that they're good at that can make them money. And they're going to have issues with figuring out what to put all of their attention on. So they're going to be, they might put all their energy into like Pentacle number one, and then it could realize like, oh, actually that's not for me. And then they're going to move on to Pentacle number two, and it's just very up and down, sort of very cyclical, going through different phases where they're trying out different things and seeing what works for them. And with the 10 of Pentacles, they also have the Tower card right next to it. So they could have a lot of bolts of inspiration that relate to these 10 things or multiple things that they are really good at creatively. And then they also have the Moon card. So I do feel like they're connected to the moon and their emotional side. So the things that they're creating, also with the Queen of Cups, the things that they're creating can resonate with people on an emotional level. And so people feel really drawn to the things that they're making. And that makes it difficult for this person to figure out what they want to do, because it's like they're good at a lot of things, right? They have a lot of gifts, but it's about figuring out what it is that you want to put all the energy into. Because if you're putting your energy into 10 things, you're putting, 10% into each thing, as opposed to giving 100% to one thing and watching that one thing take off. Okay, so with the Mother of Swords card here, I feel like that shows that this person needs to have a lot of discernment and to figure out what is for them and what is not for them, so they can cut those things, not necessarily cut them out of their life, but just figure out, what do they want to put all their attention to. With the Six of Cups here, your child could be someone who is very nostalgic of the past. Like I feel like you're going to be able to give them a really good childhood. So their artwork might relate to things relating to the past, like memories they had when they were younger. And you may also have multiple kids, and they'll have a sibling. They could have a sibling that they feel very close to and that they bonded with a lot as a child, and then that helps them moving forward. Like that's kind of like their partner in crime. I do feel like that's why there's two trees here, and it's the moon, because it's like you're their parent, and then there's like you're watching over them as the moon, and then they have this companion tree here. But yeah, I think overall their energy is more cups than swords. Like the swords is what they need to integrate into their life, and the cups is like what they're already naturally embodying. I do feel like this person could be a Cancer or have Cancer energy, so maybe even their moods are up and down. They could have a very like fiery side where they get angry quickly, or their mood will just change like out of nowhere and it throws people off. Everyone's confused. What's going on? She was happy 2 seconds ago, or he was happy 2 seconds ago. I also think it's interesting that there's the cheetah card here, and then this exchanging gifts card has like a cat right here in the corner. So again, that cheetah personality, that like passionate, driven, fast personality is going to benefit them creatively, but they just need to figure out what they need to be doing as opposed to doing all of the things that they want to do, if that makes sense. I said do like 5 times just then. I'm going to pull some more cards for group 1. And actually with the 10 of Pentacles here, I do think your child is going to be very, just as a family, you guys are going to be very close, very family oriented vibe, caring, will do anything for their loved ones vibe coming through here in the cards. But they also need to be careful with that, because I do feel like they could be susceptible to being taken advantage of by their friends or maybe even other family members. Because they like they just love so hard. People may come into their life that are just like not for them, right? Like they present an opportunity, or they, not an opportunity, but they present like a certain type of personality, and then once your child gets to know them and they start to see they're in it for, you know, they're only friends with me for this, or they're only friends with me for that, that's when your child kind of has to get that sword out, cut that person out of their life, and move on. Because especially with the 6 of Cups here, that's someone who could, again, nostalgia, memory, so they could keep people in their life who, just because, you know, you were with me from day one, you know what I mean, we were playing on the playground when we were 5, and now we're like 20, and you know, how am I supposed to just leave you? But no, they like but they have to realize that people change, and there comes a point where you start going east and your friend starts going west, and you know what I mean, it's time to break it off. Backing me up. All right, we got Queen of Swords again, and then we have Judgment, Strength, and Justice. Okay, a lot of major arcana cards coming through here. So I do feel like gaining more discernment is sort of like a discernment in terms of like what they need to put their energy into. That's gonna be like a karmic lesson for them, which is why the Judgment card is here. I think your child could also have an issue where they see things from one perspective, or two, maybe even 2 perspectives, but they have a hard time seeing things from all perspectives. So that's probably, that relates to like their moodiness, or just like they could be even quick to anger or quick to get annoyed, and it's because they don't have like that ability naturally to see things from, you know, 4 points of view as opposed to 2 points of view. Like they need to be able to like put themselves in other people's shoes easier, as opposed to just thinking of their own experiences with that person. If it's a person that's like not trustworthy or something, they may look at that and say, well, they could rationalize it. No, they're not rationalizing it. They're looking at it from like an emotional perspective as opposed to being logical and looking at it from like all angles as to why this person is acting the way they're acting. Then with the strength card here, that's about balancing that cheetah, lioness, fiery personality with their more emotional, Cancerian-ish, sensitive side, right? Because like I said, they're very moody, they're very up and down. So it's about bringing balance to those two sides of them so that they can just act in a way that's more balanced, more harmonious, and more unified, as opposed to just like tower moment after tower moment after tower moment emotionally. So that's going to be a huge karmic lesson for them. Is they're going to come out when they start like early on in life, they're going to be very Queen of Cups. And as they grow older and start to learn these karmic lessons that they have, they are going to have to become more Queen of Swords, or balance out that cup and that sword energy. Group 1, that is what I'm seeing for your future child. I hope this reading resonated. Please give this video a like, leave a comment if you want, and we are going to move on to group number 2. Okay. Hello, group number 2, and welcome to your pick a card reading on your future child. Please keep in mind, I am just reading on one of your future kids. You could have multiple, but yeah. So immediately when I look at this 2 of Swords that's right here, the first thing I think is that your future child is someone who thinks way too much. Like they overthink to the point where it keeps them up at night, and they're contemplating their future. So they could be someone who worries a lot about the future, and if they're presented with multiple choices in terms of like what to do with their future, for example, maybe they could have 2 career paths, or they could be picking colleges to go to and there's like too many options. They will angst over it to the point where they're just losing sleep, and they're not gonna make a decision. As a matter of fact, I feel like they would be the type to go to someone else to get their, like a friend or a family member, to make the decision for them, as opposed to them just making the decision themselves. And they will be guided with this card here, the 4 of Swords, to use their intuition to make their decisions, as opposed to just using logic. Right, so they can make like a pros and cons list to decide between 2 different options, and maybe the pros don't necessarily outweigh the cons in either case, but if they look to their intuition and look to what feels right for them, they're going to make the most beneficial decision for them, and it's going to bring them a sense of peace. And I see that they're the type of people that once they make that decision and they start along that path that decision opened up, they are like full force, going all in, very like a sort of like Mars, if you're familiar with like astrology, sort of drive, where they're getting stuff they're getting stuff done. So like kind of bad at initiating because they don't know what to pick, but once they're like in the project, they're good at like getting it done. With Ace of Pentacles and Son of Pentacles, I actually do think I think they may have a tendency to take life too seriously. So they'll be the type of kid who like, and this is not to say that just because you care about your schoolwork, it means you take life too seriously, but they're going to be the type of person who like, they're going to get homework and they're going to like actually buckle down and like have a schedule, you know what I mean? Like they're going to be like color coding their notes, maybe. Like they're just going to be very studious people, because they're so worried about their future. They're like, if I don't get this A on this one math exam in the 11th grade, my whole future is ruined. It's kind of like that kind of vibe. Like their emotions are like, see the way the Page of Cups, they're pointing their cup towards the Pentacles. It's like if their self-worth is affected by their material worth, if that makes sense. So like their emotions are very tied to their what's going on for them materially, like material, not just like money, but also in school. So again, if their schoolwork is not good, they're not getting good grades, they're gonna feel really upset about it. If they start a job and you know, they could say something embarrassing at a team meeting, that's gonna like torture them for days. Like it's kind of like that kind of vibe. And I do feel like they're gonna go through, because the Judgment card is here and also the Eagle card, they're gonna go through a lot of transformation in regards to what I've said about their overthinking and their emotions being so strongly tied to their school and their work and their money. That's almost like a karmic lesson. The Judgment card also came up for group 1. So yeah, that's almost like a karmic lesson they need to go through, and they're gonna go through a lot of transformation. So they need to like get in touch with their spiritual side and not be so focused on the material, because the spiritual side can actually give them a lot of, again, a sense of peace, because when they listen to like what feels right for them as opposed to just like the cold hard facts, it just helps them get through life easier, right? And the never ending story card, all right, she's not focusing, but the never ending story card is here because, again, they are so focused on the future that they make one bad decision or make a mistake and it's like torture for them. So they need to realize that like life is a cyclical thing. Like there's gonna be ups, there's gonna be downs, you're gonna make mistakes. You're supposed to learn from those tough times so that you can move forward a better, stronger, more wise person. But it's going to take them a minute to get to that point in life, because they do have more masculine energy than feminine energy. And masculine and feminine doesn't necessarily have to do with their gender, but masculine in the sense that they're action oriented, they're looking at the facts. And then feminine energy is more intuition, what feels right, going with the flow type of vibe. And that's why the Chariot card, like this guy is writing in the nighttime. Like there's no daytime depicted in the Chariot card. It is night, because when you think of the night, you think of like the moon. The moon has to do with feminine energy. So it's like when this person is more in tune with their feminine side and just like intuition and going with the flow of life, as opposed to trying to like figure out their every move and calculate everything perfectly so that there's no pain, no struggle, and all that stuff. That's when they just move forward with ease. And then again, with the two sides, there's like two lions. It's like bringing balance to those two energies, which group 1 also had a message about balance, but it was a little different. But yeah, so just balancing out those two sides. So I'm going to pull some more cards for group number. Ooh, okay, cards fell out. How many cards fell out? 3 cards. Oh, just kidding. 4 cards fell out. Ace of Swords, Page of Pentacles, King of Pentacles, and the Lovers. Okay, so more Pentacles cards. So again, there's just someone who just overthinks. Like they're just sitting there staring at their pentacle. What should I do? Should I do option A? Should I do option B? And it's good that they have so many options, right? Because some people, it's like the way that life is presented to them, it's almost like they just don't have as much opportunity as your future child will have in life, right? some other people. But they could like, it's just like if you look at this Ace of Swords card, right? This person is holding the sword by the knife instead of holding it by the hilt. They're going to get cut, right? Because they just think so much. They are trying to be perfect, and they just end up hurting themselves more than they would have if they just been chill about it. So this person is going to go through a transformation where they go from this like Page of Pentacles, like kind of just like young, inexperienced, thinking too hard, to a more balanced person, a person who can make decisions with ease as opposed to constant internal struggle. And the Lovers is also talking about sort of like that Venus energy where it's just like you're just naturally attracting things to you and you don't even have to do anything. Whereas a lot of these cards here, not a lot, but when we look at the card like the Emperor card, it's more about like you're going after something you want. The Lover's card is just like you're just waiting for that thing to come to you. You just have this natural attractiveness. So it's also about, for this person, your child, learning how to balancing that Mars Emperor going after thing energy versus that Venus things are naturally just coming to you without you even having to like lift a finger vibe. And they'll find that like as they get older, they're able to tap into that Venus energy more, and they can just naturally attract things to them without having to do the most. So group number 2, I also feel like as a parent, you could be someone who, or to help your child along on their journey, just encouraging them to understand that life is a never-ending story, and helping them find ways to like balance things out so that they can have more peaceful moments. You know what I mean? Helping them do some self-care, some relaxation, so that it's not just all like thinking. That would benefit this person a ton. So yeah, group 2, I hope this reading resonated with you. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you feel like it. You know what I mean? Check out some other videos. And we're going to move on to group number 3. Hello, group number 3, and welcome to your pick a card reading on your future child's personality. Please keep in mind that I am going to be doing this reading focusing on one child, so you could have multiple, but I'm not going to say which order this child is going to be. Just reading on the personality. So right away, I'm getting a couple things with this spread. So your future child is someone who I feel like they're going to move a lot. They're going to move around a lot in their life. This could be childhood. This could be adulthood, but I do feel like it's going to be partially during their childhood, where they're just going to be moving around a lot, moving to like different countries, maybe cities, states, provinces. You know what I mean? I don't know where you live, but they're just moving around, living in different parts of the country, different parts of the world. And as a result, they tend to go through a lot of transformations in terms of the way they see the world and the way they see people. So they just have like a very interesting perspective on life. And as a result, seeing all these different places, dealing with all these different cultures, they go through a lot of transformation in terms of their thought process and their way of thinking. Thinker. So I think this is going to be someone who's a very worldly person, someone who's very empathetic because they have experienced or met so many different types of people. Yeah, we have 6 of Swords here. That's like traveling. 6 of Wands. Again, there's like a butterfly here. So just a lot of transformation as a result of traveling and moving around. Super wise. I feel like this person is going to be, they're going to grow up very quickly. Like physically, they're like 12, but mentally they're like 30. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like a, and I'm not saying they're going to be a Capricorn, but you know how Capricorns, they come out the womb like 80 years old. Like they come out 80 and then they just get younger the older they get. Like it's kind of like that but like not really. Like they come out, like your child's gonna come out young, but just all this traveling, moving around and meeting different people, they're just gonna get old. Like they're just gonna be not old in terms of like they're not gonna be immature when it comes to dealing with other people, because they just understand how people are. They just have this like wisdom that is just beyond their years, and it's gonna be amazing. I also feel like they are going to have a internal world that differs from what they present to others. So what I mean by that is they're like wear a mask. The mask that they wear in public to people who don't know them very well is different from who they actually are inside, which is why I think all that glitters card with these masks I can't talk is here. So they're almost balancing like two aspects of their personality and just like picking and choosing which ones to show with which people. And I think the Six of Swords here is here because doing this balancing act is actually going to bring them a sense of unease, or just like a bit of unhappiness, because they don't feel like they could be their 100% full self in front of most people that they know. Like they feel like they have to like, maybe they have like an aspect of the personality that's like more secret, and half their friends are cool with. Then they have this other personality that like the other half of their friends are cool with, and they just feel like they gotta like juggle between them. So it's like 1 minute they're this way, then they hang out with that group, and then they have to go that way, and that's gonna be something that's challenging for them. I'm gonna pull some more cards for this group. Temperance again. Okay, so you see how the Two of Pentacles and the Temperance card are almost in the, well, they're not in the same pose, but you get the idea, right? It's like we're trying to balance these two pentacles, and we could very easily drop one. You know what I mean? Like we could very easily fall on our face and drop one right here. But just having the sense of balance and being able to show both aspects, and realizing that these two personalities you have, it's not a burden. Like this is like an opportunity, and if you just fuse these two things about yourself together, you would just be a happier person, and just you can be your true self with no struggle. Then we have the Queen of Pentacles. Oh, the King of Pentacles. Hello. This is Nine of Pentacles. Ooh, Child of Fool. Okay, and Death. All right. Okay, so I'm seeing for this group that if you look at the Nine of Pentacles card, it's almost like their abundance is within the darkness in the middle of this card. So I do feel like your child, once they come into contact, once they are able to fuse the two sides of their personality together so that they can just be their full self, and they can just like confront their shadow side or the darker aspects of their personality, and accept those parts of themselves, that's when their life is really going to get started. Right? So it's almost like they moved around so much that to make friends, it's like they had to present, having to start over so much, they had to present a perfect image, right? That all that glitters image of themselves to new people, and then they would just never drop that image and then reveal other aspects of their personality. They would just keep up this front, and it's the mask they're wearing is not completely fake. It's not like this is not even you at all. It's just like just one part of them, and then like 75% of them is just like hidden or only reserved for certain people. So it's like once they bring these two parts of themselves together, that's when life is gonna like really take off for them, and it can really begin. And that's when like abundance, and when I say abundance, I don't just mean like money, but just abundance in all forms, right? People you're with, the memories you have, money too, you know what I mean? Career too, but other things. That's when those things really start to flourish and be the best for your highest self. I also feel like in terms of their romantic relationships, because once they like fuse all these aspects of the personality together and they're just like their true selves in front of everyone, that's when they'll start to attract good partners, right? Like people that can match their energy 100%, and they're just like a balanced, good counterpart for them, and just in terms of their love lives. I also think there's a possibility that your child could have another. Your child could have many children. Like this is almost like a nest, and this is like eggs in a nest. That's not, but like that's what it's giving me right now. And we also have like a baby chick here. So I just get this vibe like, yo, kid is gonna have a lot of kids. Like you're gonna have a lot of grandkids. Congratulations. Another thing with this dragonfly is it's like this dragonfly and the Six of Swords and the Thinker card. Your child is gonna have a very restless mind. Yeah, they're just gonna be very restless. So like even if you're gonna raise them like moving around a lot, they're still gonna like, even if they physically stay in one location, their mind is still gonna wander to like different places. So it's like they just can't, even if their restlessness does not manifest physically, it's gonna manifest mentally. It's one or the other. So yeah. Group 3, that is your reading for your future child's personality. I hope you enjoyed the reading. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. And leave a comment if you would like. And also subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Because we got more of these videos coming. We're now going to move on to group number 4. Hello, group number 4, and welcome to your pick a card reading on your future child's personality. Please keep in mind that I am going to be reading on the personality of one of your future children, so you could have more, but I'm just focusing on one for today. So, so first card we'll talk about is the Nightingale card. So the Nightingale talks about having fearless speech or communication, being able to speak freely, being able to create music freely or just express yourself freely, but it is in the reverse. So I do feel like your future child is going to have blockages in terms of like what they can and cannot say. They're not going to feel comfortable saying everything that they want to say for whatever reason. I feel like this future child is possibly male, and they feel like they can't say what they want because people are going to judge them for it. Like the things that they have to say are more associated with, no, the things that they want to say are more like Knight of Cups, more emotional, sensitive. Like, you know how people say like you need to act like a man, you need to man up, and it's like if a guy is crying or something, it's kind of like that. It's like toxic masculinity prevents your child from saying what they want to say. Or it could be the opposite, where it's like they could be female, and not to gender your children, but you know what I'm saying. Like they could just, society is telling them they can't say certain things, and so they don't want to, because they're afraid. And those things I think could be more sensitive, emotionally based topics. So actually that could also mean like you, I don't know, maybe they just grow up, no offense to you, but maybe they grew up in a household where their parents didn't speak about their emotions, and now they don't want to speak about their emotions. And as a result, that kind of hinders them in life. No offense. Okay, so 8 of Pentacles. So this is good to know now, because if you recognize that you're that type of person, if that resonates with you, definitely make that change. Be someone who speaks about their emotions and talks freely, so that your child doesn't have to deal with that karma. Okay, and then with the 8 of Pentacles here, you could have someone who's very hardworking, right? And I'm getting a Capricorn vibe here, because we do have the Devil card as well. Although the Devil card does relate to the feeling blocked in terms of what you want to say. But yeah, someone who's very there, and we have the 8 of Wands here. Someone who's very hardworking. Emperor energy is going to go after what they want materially, physically. But when it comes to the softer aspects of the personality, again, they're not going to want to share that with other people. And I am feeling if they did feel comfortable saying everything they wanted to say, it would bring them a lot of emotional abundance. It would just benefit them so much. They would be able to make ties with people who understand them more. You know what I mean? And it's not just necessarily family, but just also friends. Just attracting more people in your life who resonate with you, when you can say whatever you feel like saying, as opposed to just hiding things, So with the Round and Round card, I do feel like that has to do also relates to the Father of Pentacles card, where you're going to have someone who's they have issues escaping from their karma, right? So it's almost when they say, there's a saying that if you do the same thing over and over again and you expect a different result, it's insanity. That's almost kind of the vibe I'm getting with this Round and Round card, where you're going to have a child who, they're recognizing their issues, but they're just going to keep doing the same thing over and over again. And they're going to have issues stopping, because they get very comfortable. They're a very routine oriented person in terms of their personality and changing their personality. So they're going to be someone who's going to do the same things, and they're going to get frustrated, because it's damn, I don't want to be like this anymore, but they don't know how to get out of it, right? So they're just stuck in this cycle that just keeps going and going and going. And with the 8 of Pentacles thing, it's a cycle of their own making. So it's they built this foundation of their life on this cycle, or on these behaviors, and it's hard for them to just leave the web. You know what I mean? Just do something else and see what happens. Here and Now. So Here and Now is a card about focusing on the present, and that's part of the issue. With the Round and Round card, is that they're so focused on what's going on in their lives presently. You know what I mean? Maybe it's their career, maybe it's their family, whatever. Just things that are happening in their life presently, that they're not taking the time to really look back on why they are the way they are, right? So they could, for example, they could be in a relationship, and in the relationship, they're having issues with expressing how they really feel. Okay, and it's getting on their significant other's nerves. And they know it's a problem, but they're so focused on the present, they're not even recognizing that it's because of stuff that happened in their childhood or their last relationship or whatever. They just keep doing the same thing over and over, because they don't have the ability, or it's hard for them to just be self-aware in that way. I'm gonna pull a few more cards. Yeah, so here, see, look. So we have the Y card. So again, they're just not recognizing why they're acting. Can you see that? No. They're not recognizing why they're acting the way that they are acting. Why their toxic behaviors are so ingrained in them, or why behaviors that are not beneficial to them are so ingrained in them. Where that's coming from. The Hermit, the Tower. So they need to do a lot of self-reflection. They need to do a lot of self-reflection because it's when they're alone that they can have these Tower moments and really question why. That's when they can really understand why life is the way it is. Sorry, I'm picking a card up off the floor. Okay, these cards fell out. We have the Father of Wands, and then we have the Seven of Wands. Yeah. So, your future child has to do a lot of self-reflection. They need to become more aware of the things that they're doing and why they're doing it. I feel like there's like a theme of darkness happening here. Like with this card and this card, right? There's like, they're in the dark, and then there's like a spark of light. And even with the Hermit card as well. So they need to do some shadow work and examine those darker parts of themselves and shine a light on them, because it's not until they do that that they can sort of progress forward in life and live a more fulfilling life in general and have the family that they want to have, right? Because they want to have it, but it's coming out in reverse because they're having this issue with expressing themselves emotionally. This Knight of Cups here. Yeah, man. Let me see if I can pull, because I feel like it's the same messages over and over again. Let me see what else I can pull for this card. Yay. Okay, so that's their Emperor energy. It's that Father of Wands, Observer. Okay, again, let's really look at what's going on in your life here and figure out what we can do to change it. Okay, let's figure out the whys. Breathe. So taking that moment for self-reflection. I just feel like I'm getting the same messages over and over again. And then I also got co-create. So that's interesting. So yeah, I mean, I think that goes back to the 10 of Cups that's buried under here, and even the 8 of Eight of Pentacles, where that's talking about like creating bonds, building bonds. And once your child is able to overcome these blockages that they have, they'll be able to build stronger bonds and even create with other people. Like, I mean, the Nightingale has to do with creating music as well, because the Nightingale sings. So you could have a child that like wants to get into music, and they just need to be able to like, music helps you express your emotions, and they'll create even better music when they can do this self-reflection, and they can create stuff with other people as well. So group number 4, I hope you enjoyed this reading. And I mean, this is a little more somber. I mean, listen, you have someone here who is very driven and ambitious and reliable and, you know, feels things. They just have issues with expressing them. So it's good to know these things now if this resonates with you, so that you can help your child overcome them later on. But in any case, sorry, these cards are not straight. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Leave a comment, subscribe, and I hope to see you guys in my next pick a card reading. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.